Hi, Angela.
Hi, morning.
Good morning. Um, I'm I'm excited um to do this. How are you doing?
Great. Hi, everyone.
Okay, great. Well, I'm thinking we start actually in like 2 minutes. So it's just getting a head start by
Yeah.
joining early in case anyone else joins early. And yeah, I'm really excited because I'm going to be showing where we're headed, and that is with a version 2 of our product. So I'll be launching version 2 here on the web. Sorry, go ahead. And also showing you what's to come with our new website. So we've got lots of new in the month of February, and and I'm going to also show version 1 so you can see how does one relate to the other. And Angela, quick question for you. Um, uh, Maybe you can just drop in chat of how many people signed up for this webinar. Okay, looking forward to, wow, that's awesome. Okay, so 79. Um, so yeah, this webinar is really focused on how to use AI in recruiting. And um, and there's ways you can use both versions of our product. And let's see, in terms of going live, I think Angela, let's go ahead and go live. Let's do it. I think we're going live on LinkedIn today, right? Very exciting. Hello and good morning. I am Erica Anderson, Chief Customer Officer for Storytell. And I am really excited to share with you how to use AI for recruitment. So in your hiring processes, how could you use Storytell as a tool to make your workflows more efficient? And before we dive into those demo examples, I will go ahead and just share with you what what is the point of Storytell? Why do we exist? And Angela is just dropping in some polls here. You know, what other AI tools do you use? What would you like to learn today? And where are you joining from? So where in the world are you at the moment? All right. So I will share my screen and we'll do a very short presentation. Um, and I'll just go into this mode. Okay, so how can you be a 10x recruiter using AI? And, and before we even look at that, which will happen momentarily, what is Storytell? So we are a B2B AI platform, and we're here to help you make sense of all the data that you're collecting, in this case, around recruiting, but this works for so many different use cases. So you're taking both structured data, um, such as, CSVs, and unstructured, the Zoom transcripts, this mountain of information that just shows how we spend our days. And it has this gold inside it. And yet it's been so hard to access that to date it's been completely worthless. And so Storytell can help you um, really understand that data, interact with it, create from it, get insights that you can then take action on. Um, Benefits of Storytell. So what's something that makes our product different? Well, you get to, as opposed to ChatGPT, where generally you're just interacting with whatever it has been trained on, It's almost like you're training a model on your own data. You could think of that as the metaphor. So you are choosing exactly how big and how small is that data set that you want to interact with. And and then in the next point around trusting the results. So I'm guessing that you've heard the term hallucination, where it's just hard to know, how did the AI come up with that? There's this black box keeping us from understanding exactly how it got to its conclusion. Where did that chat response come from? And we decided, hey, that's not good enough for us. You really, in an enterprise environment, you absolutely have to be able to verify the veracity of what you're speaking to, right? You have to operate from a place of truth and objective reality. And so we built an algorithm that gives you footnotes so you can see exactly where something came from. I do have a little cough today. So I am drinking tea from Storytell mug. This is not a sales pitch in that these are not for sale, not yet. One day soon. Also de-siloing knowledge. So it's almost immediate that as we focus in our different departments, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. And we really suffer as a result. At the very least, we lose time, we lose opportunities as well. Um, and so with Storytell, you can give folks in your organization access to what you've uploaded. So there's no duplication of efforts. Whatever you upload and make available to your organization, other people can interact with as well. So there's people aren't blocked. You're not the sole conduit of information. And please just go ahead and ask questions as I go here. I'm going to pop out of the slideshow for right now to show you our new website. So this is um, in progress at the moment, but we'll be launching this next week, the same time we launch a more robust version of version 2, though it is already live, the version 2, and we will be working with it today. So just making knowledge workers 10 times more effective. That's really our goal. And the way that we're going about achieving that is through work streams, powered by AI. And you're going to see exactly like, what is a work stream? You can think of it as a workflow. Um, but basically, almost everything that we do has repeatable steps. And you can use our platform to customize workflows to get to the outcome that you want and just have those repeatable steps as part of the process. So you're kind of running the machine as opposed to being the machine. Collections. So tags and groups were confusing to people. And we're always responding to user feedback. So we have collections instead, because you have to have some way to organize the content that you're uploading. And the same file can be in multiple collections. You'll still have the ability to chat directly with your data, or with everything the LLM has been trained on, which we're just calling the world's data. And story tiles, of course, they are still a big aspect of version 2. And I think that's going to be the teaser of what's coming with our new website. So with that, let's see, I'm going to come back to the slideshow after we just dive right into work streams. So version 2 of our product, I am in the dashboard here, and you can see I am supposedly David Mundo. So for each of these webinars, we create a fictional persona. In this case, David Mundo, I make a nice David, right, is a senior recruiter. And he is using AI to streamline the process of understanding, what candidates are best for particular roles. Now, there are ATS systems. I'm going to say David is not at a company that's large enough to have one of those, but even if you have one, you can use AI to interact with the interviews that you had with candidates and just understand them better. It's especially useful for folks who were not in the interview to just query the information themselves. We're not usually going to have time to watch all the recordings. I'm thinking of each time I have some tea as like a dramatic pause. So let's just orient you a bit right now. Okay, so we have this concept of work streams, and as we're building out version 2, there's more and more you're going to be able to add to them. And in this view, we're looking at all the work streams. So we could create a new one, and there's two existing ones that we're going to look at. And if you have a Storytell, if you don't have a Storytell account, go ahead and create one, and you can follow along at version 2 .storytell.ai. So Angela, if you could just drop that in chat, that would be great. And um, and then, okay, so we've got the work streams, and right now, what this looks like is you can add content, and then you will be able to share it, and there'll be more steps that you can add as we go. But just like in version 1, Smart Chat, where you can interact with the content, you can do that here. So let's start with this executive assistant position. And so what do we have in this collection? We've got the resumes from the applicants for this role, and we've got a job description. Now, you can take something out of a collection, and then, yeah, you'd have the content as well. So, for instance, the reason that we created this workstream approach is seeing again and again folks creating something new from something they already have. So, all right, I know what the job description is, right? My company created this, and now there's people who are trying to match up with that. And so it's easy to think, oh, I should just upload all of it, the job description, the resumes, but that's not actually going to let you exclude the data quite as much as you need to in order to get signal from the resume. So that might be a little confusing. I'm just going to show you instead of talk about it. So I'm going to remove this from the included collection. And I'll be muting here and there for little coughs. Okay. Right. So how do I start chatting with this? So you see this chat right here on the upper right. I'm just going to show chat. So just like version 1, we still have a question library. You can use the existing questions here. In this case, I'm going to go to our workspace where I have some prompts. And great. And Angela, it looks like you've shared that already. So for the EA position, I'm actually taking that job description, and instead of having it within the collection, using it as a prompt. And so this is the entire job description, and what we have at the top is what I'm asking it to do. So based on this job description or job rec, create a table for the candidates. In each column, name the candidate. In each row, rate the candidate for each attribute and give a reason why. Use a 1 to 4 rating, with 4 being on the mark and 1 being not at all. Okay, so always just think of AI as a pretty capable intern, but it's their first day on the job, and you need to guide them. You need to tell them exactly what to do. If you just say rate the candidate, well, that could mean a lot of different things. So because we're in this work stream, everything, all the content in the work stream, which right now is just the resumes, is automatically selected to chat with. So I've just dropped this in here and I'll hit enter. Let's see. Let's try this again. And this is dangerous, showing something that's just launched on a demo. So usually means for early stage startup, there's going to be bugs. I mean, even Microsoft has bugs. So I might need to go back to version 1 to show you how we can do this. Okay, so before we go to version 1, I'm going to show you here. So in version 1, the way that we are organizing knowledge, just make that come up all the way, is through tags and groups. I'm just going to move my face so you can see groups. So you're uploading a file, so that's your content, and you can upload it, as you upload it, tag it. So you're organizing the data. You can think of tag as a folder and really as synonymous with collections. Now, you can take the tag. So tags all related to the same thing. You can group together in a group. And now you're gonna have other tags that aren't related to that group. So they'd be outside of the scope of this. But I just want to make it clear, what's the relationship between files, tags, and groups? For instance, you can't have a group without tags. Okay, so now that that is clear, I will pop out of the slideshow and we'll go to version 1. So I've been playing around with this, as you can see. All right, so where are we and what's going on? I think let's just orient ourselves momentarily. So we are in the Smart Chat. So there's also a content manager here. So everything that you've uploaded, and you just want to see what's in that tag, bingo, it's right here. And you click into it. Here's a summary. Here's a preview of the initial experience. These are obviously not, this is all demo material, so these are not real individuals. That is not how we roll at Storytell. And then you can go and look, oh, that was the source content, right? So when you're not sure what's in there, you can go and look at it directly. And you'll see it's tagged here. So, okay, how do we go back to chatting with this tag? There's multiple ways. One way is to click on this. And then you can also see, what groups does this belong to? Great. And now I'm going to chat with this tag. So I've already got the prompt here, right? So remember, based on this job rec, and we've got the job rec down here, like this is what you'll do. This is who you are, perks and benefits from our company. Okay. So this is technically called few shot learning. So you're saying, this is the kind of output I want. And this is what it looks like. You're giving it a great understanding here of where to go. So, okay, what did I just do? What was that? So I opened, I selected Markdown, which is a formatting language. And we're going a little wide here, but I'm gonna bring it down. But so what I've done is I selected Markdown so we can see things in this table view. Okay, so for these candidates, how would they rate for each of the attributes of this role? Attention to detail, independence, expenses management, and where did that come from? That came directly from this. So event management, expense management, personal admin, duties, right? And all I had to say was, rate the candidate for each attribute. Okay, so let's have a look. We're going 1 to 4, 4 being the high, and would want to know who has the most force, which even looking at this table for all the attributes, like, oh, that might be a lot of information. So that's why with AI, it's always, try and try again. So just because with your first question, you don't get what you want, doesn't mean it can't do it. Like usually with AI, we're limited by our imagination and also just time, right? So who has the time to learn prompt engineering, et cetera. But just being creative will take you really far. So based on these descriptions, like Leona Baxter, like, okay, strong skills, high level experience, excellent attention to detail, some experience, average, excels in all areas. Okay, so Aria and Leona are looking interesting, limited. Um, yeah, and also, right, you can't only base things on resumes. For instance, we usually do some kind of interaction around projects, a very small project, so we can see what is it like to work together. That's the Storytell approach. So let's just try something out here. Take an average of each of the ratings for each candidate and put them in a table with the candidates' names. Let's see, put the overall rating. Okay, let's just see where we get with that. So I might have to redo that prompt. Interesting. Okay, so Leona and Aria um, did do the best on the ratings here, and also the description of their experience showed that they were the most likely candidates or the strongest candidates for this role. I'm just going to check here, see if there's any questions. Okay. So let's see, what's something that you would want to know about these two candidates? So we're narrowing it down to Leona and Aria. Compare Leona and Aria and show like where they could have challenges in this role and where they could excel and recommend the best suited candidate. Okay, so we're trying that out. And also you can always go back to our working session doc and grab prompts from there. So I'm going to do that momentarily. All right, so challenges. So slightly lower event management. Okay, so that's good to know, right? So we are multifaceted humans. There's gonna be some areas super strong and less strong. So how important is it for this role that this person is great at managing events or great at doing research? And what does a research project really mean in this context? Whereas, admin, being really independent, managing schedules, Leona's just got it. Whereas, let's look at Arya now. Okay, expense management. So if that's something that Arya has to do, uh, she would probably need some training there. And then also isn't super high in research skills. But I could say as a hiring manager, you know what, research skills are not going to be as important for this role. And I'm going to have someone else manage expenses. And so that's also not going to matter as much. But say they are going to be running events. So this is going to be concerning and would be like the great basis for a conversation. Okay. All right, Aria is great at event management, great at presentations, and great communication skills. Right. Okay. Yeah, and I would agree with this recommendation from AI. So this isn't about the AI deciding, it's just partnering with the AI to move through your own thought process. So let's just continue here. What are some questions uh, I should ask Aria and Leona based on their areas of challenge and the fact that this role will require event management? Okay. So for Aria, we've got, yeah, what was like a challenging experience around managing events? How do you ensure attention to detail? Um, and like where did, again, these specific examples, and someone who's, if you've conducted a lot of interviews, you know, like it all comes down to those specific examples. It's easy to be vague and broad and abstract, but it doesn't really provide an opportunity to get to know the person. Working within a budget. How did you manage expenses? And how are you staying up to date on best practices? Great. And it looks like, okay, we've got some different questions for Leona around collaborating with multiple stakeholders. Um, and again, these are starting points. Um, Interesting. Okay, so still bringing research skills into it, just in terms of the research you need to do for the event. Great. So I'll just see what's in chat here. Um, okay. Um, so we'll go as long as we can. We might have some some DNS downtime during the webinar. And hey, we're an early stage startup, so we're just going to go with the flow here. Okay, so going back to the workspace. Um, so interview evaluation form. Now we're only looking at resumes here, so we're going to let's try this one. I'm going to try one more, and then we're going to look at a different example, which is a front end engineer role. Okay, so we're going back here and risks. So risk factors we should look out for to hire either candidate. What might cause them to fail being successful? All right. So again, what's highlighted for Leona is her lack of experience in event management. Um, and then research. Okay. Right. And then this could be challenging for Aria. Okay. And I think it's like, what's doable? Like, is this coachable? Is this something we have the time to address? We have the capacity training wise. So right. And that's what we're seeing here from the AI. So AI and I are in agreement. Okay. So this is within these executive assistants applicants. So I'm going to go back to the Smart Chat. You'll see we've got a group with everything we've uploaded around the front end engineer position. So it includes interview transcripts, includes our questions for them, their cover letters, and our like evaluation form. And again, it's tempting to think, oh, I'm just going to drop all of that in the Smart Chat. And there are things you can do with it. But you're also going to want to be able to interact with things individually. So interview transcripts here. And anytime that you want to clear out what's at the top of the screen here, just go ahead and hit all my knowledge. All right, so interview transcripts. We put cover letters and the other interview transcripts here as well. Great. And now I'm going to go to the working session and grab different prompts. Let's see. And I think that we've just got two candidates in this case. Just going to come back here. And the candidates, I believe, are Angelo and Aaron. Um, And then I don't think we put the interviewer name in, so, or we did. I'm not recalling it right now, so I'm just going to leave it there. Okay, so we're asking again for a table. And so what I'm going to do, I go up to these three dots and move this to Markdown. Okay, so who had the better response around technical skills? And Aaron did. And why, what happened with Angelo's response? Why wasn't it up to par? So do you see how we're really diving deep into the material? um, as opposed to a surface like, who's the best? Okay, next. I think that's often the assumption, like, oh, AI is being used for this, therefore it's a heartless, cruel process. And that simply does not need to be the case. We're very much taking a humane approach here because you have to understand the humans. What's the point otherwise? Um, so yeah, didn't get specific examples or expertise around front end development. Okay, so that's going to be a challenge if front end engineer is your role. Okay, complex requirements. So user experience. And what did we have to do to get this table? Yeah, we're listing the question or topic, who had the better response, why it was better, and the reason why the other person's answer was worse. So you are welcome to use these prompts in your own explorations, and please let us know what other prompts you come up with. And as we look here, it's like, okay, Aaron had the better response for two of them, and Angelo on three of them. So that's and didn't mention. So it doesn't mean that Aaron doesn't have those. And yes, we're another ask for you to fill out this poll on how you would like to use our product. So based on the responses above, what follow-up questions should I ask Angelo and Aaron? Great. Okay, so for Angelo, let's see how these questions relate because motivation, highly motivated, works collaboratively, um, likes front end and back end. Okay, so where has Angelo implemented significant system changes and improvements? And okay, based on the responses above, I'm gonna say that was too vague. So I'm gonna try asking again. So I can copy and paste the question, or we're maintaining context here. So I can just go ahead and ask. Let's try that again. This time, base the follow-up questions on the areas. What did we call this? Is where the candidate's response was worse. For instance, if there was no mention of motivation, what's a follow-up question we could ask Aaron on this topic? Okay, so I'm giving an example. And again, it's like you're coaching the AI, right? And so AI it's not defensive. So that's great. Arnie's super different than humans, including me. So follow-up questions where the candidate's responses were weaker. Okay, great. So tell us about your motivation and drive. Okay. Example, where your motivation and strong work ethic played a significant role. And how do you prioritize growth and learning? Okay, to expand knowledge, right? So this is around team collaboration. So I would expect this to also look at team collaboration. Okay, great. So going more deeply into the technical aspects that Angelo was missing. Okay, great. So that's a start. One thing I wonder, and I'm just trying things out on the fly here, is I think interviews are so often like, where were you amazing? What happened then? And we're all supposed to present ourselves as these infallible heroes. And I actually think investigating failure is really interesting too. Like, oh, where did you not have motivation? And that really had an impact. And how would you do that differently? Like, what is this person's ability to reflect on challenges and admit that they have had them? Okay, we're having a tea break. Um, no cookies or biscuits though, just tea. So I think like I'm gonna try something, write the inverse of these questions to get the candidates to talk about experiences of failure in these areas, how they've reflected on them, and what they would have done differently. Show the results in a table. Let's see how it does. Okay, so technical skills, right? Face technical challenges. How did you handle that? What did you go teach yourself? And whereas I would say, I mean, that's still great to learn, but we did know that Erin um, did it is on par, is where she needs to be with technical skills. Still, always great to go deeper. Okay, great. What did you do about this feedback on user experience? Um, the product fell short of expectations. What did you do about that? How did you address a challenge in collaboration? Um, yeah, when did you lack motivation and face a setback? Um, and face obstacles, etc. So these are all, I think, awesome ways to bring the ingenuity of AI, creativity of AI into our processes. And again, is based on the data that you're uploading. So it's very customized. It's personalized to what you're interacting with using our system. I think that these are the main things that I want to make sure that we covered. And so if there's any questions, yeah, would love to get your feedback. So how was this webinar for you? Did you get what you need? What features are you excited about? And yeah, we love feedback, and we say, as you can see here with the emoji, feedback is fire. So that is how we grow. And the worst thing is no feedback at all. So please be honest. Let us know what you would like us to cover in future. Next week, it will be a full launch of version 2 as opposed to just a tease. Thank you so much for joining us today. Okay, bye y'all. Be well.